I give you the bottom line, which is mind blowing. As I told you, the brain functions, the main function is to keep us alive by calculating calories consumptions. So he's trying to predict the near future. So we will survive by how much energy flows, the budget, according to what I learned from a certain scientist, which makes sense in a way. I don't know if it's the whole function, but it's the majority. Now, if you look at startups, the problem with startups is you are in a space where it's very unpredictable. It's keep changing and sometimes it's chaotic. Now, the human brain resists this kind of environment because the energy consumption to make sense in the realities keep changing is enormous. You're constantly losing because you're always trying to train your model, but the reality keeps changing. And what happens to humanity in the last 10,000 years, we were able to domesticize our animals and agriculture because the weather was predictable. So predictability makes things scalable because what's the input and what's the output? That's centralization. This is nations, factories, war, in a way, very predictable. How much you need to put in to get out. And that's also a safe zone. This is how we survive better because we can predict the future in a very orderly fashion. The problem becomes when you're in a certain situation, you cannot predict the future. And your algorithm is poor. So your prediction keep giving you false. Like imagine going to a VC, startup pitch. Why are people say no to you? You're going to be exhausted, your brain, because it cannot predict and tells you how to improve. So if you understand that startups live in a world where there's high uncertainty, high risk, low predictability, basically you're going to starve. Your brain's going to starve. It's going to consume a lot of energy and the reward is really low. So another question becomes, what is the best algorithm to predict an unpredictable reality? Nature answer this question, which is collaborative effort.
I felt the answer already before you said it.
The only way to make sense in a complex reality when you have different agents making sense and collaborate their effort, like bacteria, fungus, a forest, soil, and workaround. So basically what we're offering that we didn't understand, and it's written in my link that what I'm doing, I'm inventing human collaboration. The human structure as we know it for building startups, there are two. Either you're going to fail or you're going to be a parasite, which means you have a network or a VC that gives you this energy to sustain your algorithm, right? So either you're already predictable because you know what you're doing and you have experience or the network, or either just pure tons of money to make it less stressful so you can sustain. What happens if you don't have the network or a VC? Your algorithm is very poor. Feedback loop is really long. You cannot train your algorithm. You're going to starve to death. You're going to be a very stressful person. That's why the success ratio is really poor because your algorithm is not making good predictions. You don't feed them with the right data. You don't know what works or not. Testing is meaningless in a complex, chaotic environment. Testing is good with the building blocks. You have a theory and it's a lab. You can control. What do you control? People behavior. Feedback, it's keep changing based on identity and context and weather. So the only answer to create a great algorithm in a very unpredictable, risky reality is collaborative effort. And if you're not going to collaborate, you're going to starve to death. Very simple. So asking questions, what do you want? Or how do I find the best VC? How do I find the best co-founder? Is a wrong answer in a complex, adaptive system, living system, which keep changing by input and outputs. There is no correlation or causation mechanism. You don't know what's going on. Like we at an event, you don't know what people really think. If they're gonna come to the next one, like you don't know. It's a very unpredictable environment. But if you build with the community, by the community, then the probability for success is higher, algorithm is smarter, feedback loop is shorter, more coherent. So collaboration in community is the only answer for unpredictable reality. You create a safe ground, a war ground, a playground, to people to feel more safe, less stressful, while they're trying to make sense in the world with disruptive, innovative solutions or complex problems. Just build a case why Warground is the best and Web3 is the best space to build future, whatever you call it, for unpredictable, complex reality.
Workaround is our playground for reinventing collaboration.
Yeah. A very complex, adaptive, chaotic environment where you cannot survive alone. You will starve to death. Money, resource, mentality, health, your body is not can sustain unpredictable environment for a long time. So I just build the argument, if you are a startup without network or VCs and you're highly motivated and committed, Workground will be your best place to build your network, to connect to networks, to learn, to experiment, to reduce the probability of uncertainty as a group. So I give you an example. You want to improve your pitch, you are going to pitch to 4 judges 6 times a day, every hour. Get feedback by the community.
Thanks for sharing.